guys, Zyke here, and welcome back to another episode of Cave Factory with me. Hello, and I did a little bit more of terraforming because I've decided to. Because I think I was talking about with this building last time, the background kind of like blends in with the wood and diorite and all that, so I was trying to fix that a little bit with the background, and I don't think I've entirely succeeded because I did keep this cliff kind of tall back there, but I think that's going to be okay because in the future there's going to be so much stuff up there that you'll tell the difference. But I did do some terraforming. I'm not completely done with it, obviously, because this takes so long to do. Stop giving me eggs. I need to move these chickens. Baby chicken! I'd put you in the... Come here. Come here. You were in the wrong spot. Go right there. Thank you. Because I have a lot of plans for all this, but I did go ahead. I think I showed you guys before I had this going up here, and now I have it turn, so I have a little doorway here that I didn't have before. So that way this can actually be used as a pathway to get from the Botania all the way up here without having to teleport, even though I will continue to teleport. It's not done though, obviously. I still have this little bit to do, and I'm digging out a lot of this area over here, and this stuff, even though it's not really important now, except for when I'm making pathways because of the bitumen that I get from it, I'm gonna move it just to make it a little bit more aesthetic, and I might blend that grass over here a little bit. I'm not entirely sure, but I want this to look more cave-like, and just a flat wall is not exactly flat, or exactly cave-like. Caves are not usually very flat. So I'm trying to do some curves and stuff. I don't know. It's gonna expand a lot that way, near the top. So I think it'll look nice in the long run. It's just a matter of getting it there. But that's not what our focus is this episode. I do have one other thing to show you, and then we'll be starting on pneumaticcraft. The other thing I have to show you is I have completely turned off all of these machines because I don't need them anymore. We have infinite power, which we got last episode, and we'll get to that. I forgot I did that. I figured out what was up with the arc furnace, why it wasn't doing the 100% power thing, and that's because you have to hook it up from each side. So if you have 3 of the plugs, you have to hook it up on each side. So technically, I think it's counting it as like 3 different power sources, even though it's technically not. And then it's able to power our arc furnace at full speed. And I can show you guys because I could just slap a bunch of iron in there. I should be able to at least. Will you do it? Yeah, see? It's not draining any power, and this is all going at the same time. It seems a little slow, but this is, since I'm not draining any power, I'm assuming this is full speed. So look at that go. And then what I'm going to do real quick is just put that back there. So, let me explain this machine a little bit, because I can go ahead and check off the arc furnace full speed. The other thing is in this particular quest for the factory one, the only thing we had left is the auto steel, which is to create a completely automatic sustainable steel setup. And that is exactly what I have done, believe it or not. So what this is, it looks a little funky, and it looks very different. Like, I've moved the crusher over, it used to be over there. I completely removed the blast furnace, and I'll explain that in a second. But essentially what I have done here, it is not, I'm gonna just straight out the bat, this is not the most efficient setup ever, but it works. It's just extremely slow, but taken I'm at this point in the pack, I don't really need that much steel, and this is just gonna be working all the time anyway, so I'll constantly get steel, so when I do need it, I should have plenty. But the way that this works is, I'm gonna turn off my magnet first of all. If we go up here, you guys can kind of hear lava. And what I have going on is I have a cobble gen going right here. Similar to like what I have in our create building over there. So I have that in the same little machine that breaks it. That's so loud. And what I have it doing is it drops all of the ore, and anything that is not iron ore or coal ore gets immediately thrown into this trash can. I don't need it. If it's not one of those two, it does not need to be in the system. And that's with a dropping covered conveyor belt on top of that. And you put the blacklist. So that, the coal and iron ore goes to this small electric furnace that smelts everything, and at a really decent speed. I have it hooked up with a MV wire connector that's all hooked up to the power over there. And then what I have it doing is the coal that smelts is going to go into this little thing, which is actually a item sorter, which is supposed to be used for bigger machines, and I've decided I'm not. This was the simplest thing that I think that I could come up with without getting too complicated with other things, because we don't exactly have, like, item pipes and that sort of thing, and I, unfortunately, get terribly confused when things are involved with the like the ME system that we have going on. So this was fairly simple for me. I have a conveyor belt, a dropping conveyor belt go into this hopper, which powers this redstone comparator, and does a bunch of stuff. And basically what it's doing is this redstone torch is telling this hopper to hold an item, and then anytime an item, well, more than 6 and some signs go into this, it'll drop one and then proceed to go down to the rest of the system. Oh, that's the crusher I'm hearing. So it's basic redstone. I'm just bad at Minecraft. So, and I forget who I got this tutorial from, and I will flash his name on the screen in a moment here. Here we go. Whoever that person is, I will also put their link in the description, because this was really helpful, super simple. But yeah, it goes into the hopper. I have a barrel here, which doesn't really matter. I put the barrel there because the redstone torch was messing with the hoppers. It was doing the same thing of just like holding stuff, and I didn't need that in my life. So, but this all goes down into this coke oven, which is the same setup. I didn't move it or anything from the last time we did it, so it's still hooked up to like the fluid pump and all that to get the creosote out. So that's all fine and dandy. Other than that, what that's doing is once it gets out of the coke oven and turns into coal coke, I have it automatically going into the crusher to turn it into coal coke dust. And then that goes to the arc furnace. The iron, instead of going on through a complicated mess like that, just goes directly down here and straight into the arc furnace. And then from the arc furnace, it takes the coal coke and the iron and turns it into steel, which I have 148 now. And this has been sitting for a couple hours. So, like I said, not very fast. And in fact, it actually produces coal at a much faster rate than iron, so you might need to come in here and like clear out some coal out of the coke oven. Or you can have this set up with more coke ovens, just to speed up the process a little bit. But eventually you will probably overfill with coal coke, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. Now, the question is why would I use the arc furnace? Rather than just using the blast furnace. Blast furnace was working just fine. The reason why is because the blast furnace in this particular pack is not automatable. And I'm not the only one that's seen this issue in this pack, but basically, normally with the blast furnace, you're supposed to be able to automatically input stuff from the top, and it'll accept coal coke, but it will not accept iron, and I have tried every possible way to try and pump iron into it. It was not possible. So you kind of have to go this route to make steel, because it's really the only one you can do if you don't have access. You can't automatically pump things into the blast furnace. But that's perfectly fine. This actually was kind of fun to set up, because I don't normally do a lot of like automation with stuff, so like I said, not entirely efficient, but pretty cool. You could also just set up some more of the cobblegen stuff and then have that only pump out iron instead of coal and iron, and that way you can get more iron and not have to worry about things backing up. But, yeah. I've talked enough about that. I'm gonna go to pneumaticcraft. So, pneumaticraft. I am not a fan of it. I'm just gonna be pretty blunt about that. But we are going to do it anyway, because it is part of the quest. Ooh, I do want to check this off for the auto steal, and that actually completes this chapter. Haha. Yay. That makes me so happy. 2 green chapters. And then we're gonna start this one and make it blue. Anyway, but like I was saying, not a fan of pneumaticraft. It doesn't do much that I personally use in mod packs and stuff, but I can see the appeal towards it. It's another thing that's pretty easy to automate. You get a bunch of cool things in there, and I think really the appeal, if I were to use it, is it does offer a couple different blocks, like literally Lego blocks that are different colors and stuff. You also have different liquids that you can use. And I'm sure there's like, see, you can make a sentry, you can do different types of compressors, smart chests, like, I don't even know what most of this stuff is, so I'm sure there's a lot that's really useful in this mod. I just don't personally know it, but that's okay. So, let's start out with the compressed iron ingot. It says, throw some iron on the ground and blow it up with TNT. Some iron you'll lose, some will turn into compressed iron, and that's perfectly fine. So, I'm actually going to grab 2 stacks of iron, and then we need to make, well, actually, I think I should have plenty of TNT, because we were collecting it from the Twilight Forest. And then a flint and steel. There we go. Now, the question is where do we blow this up? Because I have a feeling it's still going to create a hole. Yep, I did not put the name there of the guy. That's okay. So let's see. Let's think. You know what? I'm going to go down this thing that we've made over here. Let's hope I don't die. Oh, it's dark. Okay, that's fine. There's our machine. And we're just gonna do this. It shouldn't be that bad. Turn the magnet off. It was off anyway. Do this, like that. Yep. And there we go. It actually gave us a good amount. So that should last us for a little bit. Okay, that was enough. And I only needed to use one TNT. So let's go home. Yeah, it does not like teleporting that far in, but that's okay. So that should be plenty for a little bit. So this is going to give us our PNCR manual. So this is the pneumaticcraft manual, and we'll need this for quite a few things. Give us basic concepts, it'll give us tubes, machines, components, basically how to craft and what certain things do. In fact, if anything, it's the mob spawning that actually might be helpful for us. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to put that right there for now. Next quest is to make pressure chamber walls and an air compressor. So this is immediately getting into like the main thing that you use in here, which is the pressure chamber. So the air compressor says to create pressure, you're going to need a compressor. Makes sense. We're going to need reinforced bricks, furnace, and a pressure tube. Pressure tube's pretty easy. It's just compressed iron ingot and a piece of glass. And then the reinforced bricks is reinforced stone, and the reinforced stone is just stone and compressed iron. So that's not difficult at all. Compressor. Air compressor. There we go. So let's go ahead and make a tube. It's going to make us 8 tubes. And then should have a furnace, and I'm going to need these. So we'll only need really this much for right now, because we can also turn these into that. Okay. I do that to make sure I get the advancements that I'm supposed to get. It doesn't always register until you get out of the crafting grid. And then there is our air compressor. And that'll give us some more tubes. How many tubes did I get? Enough. Okay. And then the next step is the pressure chamber wall. So it says to make a compressed iron more efficiently, you can build pressure chamber. It will also be used in other recipes. So we can make a 3x3, a 4x4, or a 5x5. And I think for us, I'm going to go double check the size that I made, but I think for us, a 3x3 should be more than efficient because we're not automating anything super well. And we'll just kind of stick it kind of in this wall back here. Because this goes straight into a mountain anyway, so that's not a problem. We have room for a 5x5. But that seems a little bit like overkill for what we need right now. Maybe we can upgrade in the future, we'll see. We're going to put this here. So let's go ahead and make the items that we need for this. We're going to need 1 pressure chamber. Well, actually, how many do we need? The book should tell us, shouldn't it? Let's see. Compressor, tubes, manufacturing, machines, components, logistics. I would like just to know what to do. Pressure chamber. Pressure chamber is a multi-ply structure used to compress various materials into other materials. Due to its large air storage capacity, it can also serve as a useful battery. Following rules are multi-block construction apply. The overall multi-block is 3, 4, or 5. The edges and corners must either be pressure chamber walls or pressure chamber glass. The faces must either be pressure chamber walls, glass, valves, or interfaces. At least 1 pressure chamber valve is required. At least 2 pressure chamber interfaces are recommended. And 1 should face in, 1 should face out. Okay. Well, that doesn't seem too complicated. So we want a bunch of pressure chamber walls. I probably do want glass too because I'm just interested in that. And then 1 valve and 2 interfaces. That should not be a problem. So let's look up valve. Now, yeah, this is going to require the pressure chamber wall, which is really easy. Do this. And then, there we go. So pressure chamber wall. And then just to make this, it just requires a tube. And then we're going to need pressure chamber interface. Oop, I need a hopper. I'm always using hoppers. And there we go. So that'll complete that quest. And that'll actually give us some glass, which is perfect. That should be more than enough. I might need a couple more of the walls, though, because 3x3 by 3 is 27, but the middle block won't have anything. 27 minus 2 and then 3. Yep, I'm going to need more. But that's not a problem. Because what we're going to do is this. Because I only need to do this one more time. Do and do. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. I do want it kind of in the wall, just to add a little bit more depth, so I think I'll just do something like this. And just have, like, the back in the wall. And then in the floor, too. Just so it's, like, even. And then I think when we input the air into it, we can do it from the top. I'm gonna need more, aren't I? I think I did my math. Oh, I am still doing it wrong. Hang on. You vandal, what? Breaking machines like that is so uncivilized. Consider sneak right-clicking with pneumatic wrench instead, especially if the machine has... I don't care about that. I'm fine. I'm still doing this wrong. Hang on. A 3x3. It would just be like this. Where is my cobblestone? There we go. Here. This does not go on the floor at all with the way that I'm gonna have it set up, so let's fix that. Doing all my math wrong. Okay, Nope, not that far. And then it should be just as simple as this. Okay, I think I need one pressure chamber valve, which will go at the top, and I need to have that aimed a certain way. I think it's like that. And then I need to have the pressure chamber interfaces, one facing in, one facing out. I did that backwards. That's gonna bother me because I am a left to right gal. Yeah. And then I want to have glass here, just so I can see, and then... Aha! I did it! Balanced crafting system. Assemble multi-block pressure chamber. Awesome. So yeah, now we could click on it. It has an interface and that sort of thing, and we should be able to input here and output on the other side. And I do understand this looks a little weird when it's up against the wall like that, but we're going to see it mostly from this angle, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay. Now... Safety tube module. If pressures will exceed what a machine or tube can handle, it will explode. Safety tube can help with that. And that's what we're going to make real quick, because I do appreciate a safety tube. So let's go back to the house real quick. Or to our storage. This isn't even really our house. Our house is upstairs. In safety. Need a pressure gauge. And then do this. Ooh, I have so many levers. Safety tube module, and that'll give us a pressure gauge tube module. I don't remember what that does. We'll find out. And then that starts getting us into processing, but we'll get to that in a second, because I want to set this up to know that it's working. And I probably need coal, meaning I should have stayed home. And I'm just gonna use, like, coal. Just coal. Not blocks of coal, just coal for now. Okay, so I think the way I'm going to have this set up is I'm going to have the air compressors maybe on this side. See, like, I understand this is kind of like an old-fashioned building or whatever. I want tubes everywhere. I don't know. I mean, I could just put it here for simplicity's sake. Because honestly with this, the only complicated things we're going to get into is the pneumatic processing and then the assembly layers. I could do processing here and assembly layers over there. We're going to put this right here. Oh, actually, no, we can't, because the tubes come out of the back, don't it? Yeah. So that'll be the same, and then we'll do this. So that should technically be hooked up that way. And then I'm going to put the safety right here. Pressure gauge tube module. This module emits a redstone signal, the strength of which depends on the tube's pressure. When upgraded with advanced PCB, the threshold can be configured precisely. I'm just gonna put that right there. I guess that's what we want. Okay. Next step. Pneumatic processing plant. Says you can get plastic from biodiesel or LPG. Both can be made from immersive petroleum stuff covered in factory chapter. That's vague. I do want to see, though, so the compressed iron ingot, I do want to make sure that this works. It says that with the pressure chamber, it's just a matter of getting a pressure up to 2, and it should turn the iron ingot into what we want. So let's go ahead and grab an iron ingot real quick, because I want to just make sure that this works, and then I'm not just setting this up and leaving without any knowledge of anything. Because we'll probably also need to make a couple more of these air compressors as well. No problems. Pressure is building. So pressure's got to hit 2, and I'm going to put this... How does this work? Importing items. Oh, I think I have to have a... like a chest or a barrel next to it. It's got to have an inventory it can look into, which is no problem. At least that's what I believe. I'm not sure. It's been a bit, to be fair. Just gonna do this, and then we'll do that. And then, so if I put this here... Warnings. No valid items in chamber. Insert valid items pressed. That's fine. Oh, this is gonna take a while, isn't it? Let's see. Upgrades. Add the built-in safety valve in the machine. Automatically reduces some air. The pressure would rise to the danger zone. Speed. Increases the compressed air generated per tick at the expense of fuel efficiency. I definitely want that. Speed. Okay. Let's see. Speed upgrade. Sugar. Lapis. Lubricant will work. It has to be lubricant. How do I get lubricant? That's how I get lubricant. Okay, so I can't make that until we can get our plastic stuff going. Okay. This is taking so long. Okay. Well, we are at the end of this episode, so I'm going to leave it off there. We're going to just let this go, and I'll see if it works next episode. So, in between episodes, I think I'm just going to try and gather some items that we're going to need for the upcoming stuff, and also make sure I fully understand what I'm doing. And then we'll work on that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any tips, tricks, or anything like that, please put it down in the comments below, and I will graciously appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!